Hello, hello, and welcome back to Shelter. We're still here at Burry, having a good time cooking. Let's do it then. I'm going to cook the red meat, the meat sauce, and have Burry eat it with fresh noodles. I want to impress him. He's going to praise me and call me a good boy. Okay. But if I really want to impress him, I shouldn't go with shortcuts and half measures. I know what I should do. With your guidance, I think I can just go for the proper recipe.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, just tell me what to do and I'll follow. Assume that I know absolutely nothing about the dish, and correct me when I'm about to make a mistake, please. Burry starts wagging his tail again, and a big smile appears on his wide, adorable muzzle.
Admirable spirit, Luke. I promise you, you will love the result.
Prep time then?
Prep time. Go grab some onions.
Oh, the dish is ruined. It's over. It's terrible.
Garlic, celery, and carrots. Start peeling the onions. I will go collect the rest of the ingredients.
The rest of this is fine, though. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of garlic. Like whole garlic. If it's there, it's there. It is what it is. Onions, though, can't do it. Can't do it. Every time I cook and like I'll glance at a recipe online and I'll be like, use onions, and I'm like, well, fuck that noise. I approach our crate of vegetables and start picking those that Burry requested. I take a moment to appreciate the earthy aroma and the freshly picked celery. The vegetables smell wonderful, and that renews my appreciation of the perks of living at Shelter, the miracle of having access to fresh ingredients in the middle of these cold lands. When I first came to these lands, food was scarce, and even dry vegetables were expensive. And the local population was greatly dependent on the import from outside. Once we settled at Shelter and more people joined us, it became an issue to sustain our numbers, even when they were way fewer of us. We too were completely dependent on the whims of the traveling merchants, and a threat of an embargo, yes, would mean our end of starvation. Would mean our end by starvation. Yes, reading's hard. Reading's hard, kids. Shelter was still like an unborn baby at the time, bound to what fed and sustained us. Only once we cut the cord and we had means to feed ourselves, Shelter could truly be born. If the gift of warmth was Shelter's first miracle, then food was the second. One day we gained access to a great wide hall full of soil and technology for automatic cultivation. It was promising, but it took us a long time to figure out. Not impossible, though. After months of hard work, we finally managed to have our first seed sprout. Here, surrounded by dead, cold tundras, cut away from the natural cycle. We have proven that Shelter can nurture life. We still keep trade with Mrjosh, the neighboring town, however. Our relationship has changed, for better for both sides, I would say. The town isn't our umbilical cord that used to keep us alive anymore. Shelter is its own beast now, and we use Mrjosh more as a point of contact with the outside world for mutual profit. I find it amazing that the fate of many towns and eventually the whole country had been shaken simply because we were able to feed ourselves.
So, the ingredients would be... Where did I have it?
Are you looking for your recipe?
Yes, I only prepared the simpler version on paper for you because I knew the regular one by heart. You know what? I'll just add the missing steps on what I already had prepared for you. Allow me just a moment to... There you go.
Burry showed me a small sheet of paper with neatly listed ingredients. There is meat, onion, garlic, oil, mashed tomatoes, and a few different spices. Then at the bottom, he scribbled an addition of celery sticks. Okay. Carrot, butter, red wine, and 1 egg.
That's quite a lot of stuff.
Oh, that's quite a lot of stuff. Okay.
Would you rather try the simpler version after all?
Oh, no, no. It's fine. It makes perfect sense. Considering how tasty it is, I'm getting pumped up now.
No, I'm glad. For your first try, I gave you the amount of ingredients lasting for a few portions. I will be cooking in a much bigger pot of the other stove. But that's the same recipe, just bigger volume.
So I can mimic whatever you do?
Yes, exactly. Since you will be cooking less things, you will need less time to finish some of your stages. But that is fine. You will just turn off your burner and let me catch up a couple times. In this recipe, it is not an issue to let the ingredients rest mid-cooking.
Sounds good. Let's start then. First, the onions. I choose the nicest looking onion and start peeling it in a way Burry once taught me. With two quick slices, I cut off the root part and the stem, then cut it in half and peel off the skin by hand. Now comes the hard part. I grab one half of the onion and steady my knife. I make a cut through it. And when I do, my eyes start to sting and tear up. Stupid onions! Why do you always make me cry? After a few cuts, my eyes start to sting and tears blur my vision. That happens every time I chop onions.
Of course there are a set of...
Wait, of course they are set
on you, making you feel bad. You are assaulting them with a knife.
And that only makes me want to stab them even more. Petty, smelly bastards. And I can't see it. I can't see them. I can't see anything. Ugh, where are you?
Just be careful.
Got you, onion. You're not getting away from me now. Take...
Luke, no!
I feel a strong impact against the knife as it gets jerked out of my hand, and it flies at the wall. Did Burry just disarm me with a strike of his own knife? What?
You were about to cut off your thumb.
Oh, sorry. I can't see because of these stupid onions. It feels like being splashed in my face with acid. There is a long pause, and despite having my vision blurred, I can feel Burry's concerned look on me. I am starting to feel sorry for him.
Well, I can imagine that your eyes may be particularly sensitive today, yes. You have been using them so much. How about you dice the celery and the carrot for now? Let your eyes recover. When you get back to chopping the onions later, remember to breathe with your mouth at all times, rather than with your nose. That is what helps me.
No, excuse me.
This seems to disperse the nasty acid mist.
Got it. I wipe my eyes and walk towards my knife. Within an inch of its blade stuck in the wall, I try to pull it out again and again. But it's stuck. Burry?
No, okay. Here, have this knife for now. I will return yours shortly.
Thanks. He grabs the handle of my knife and jerks it out of the wall with no effort. I'm sure he'll want to clean it and sharpen it. That difference in physical strength between us is a bit embarrassing. It's often weird asking for help in little things like that, but because I feel like a little pup asking an adult for help. Except I will never grow to be as strong as the dogs, no matter how much time passes. However, I can still try to do my best in the other fields. I can show Burry how well and accurate I can dice the vegetables. Hey, this knife. Didn't you get this from Teak today?
Yes, but I cleaned and sharpened it. It's good for working with food.
Burry smiles as if a mere mention of Teak cheers him up. For some reason, he seems to have a sweet spot for that dog. I was wondering about that knife. I like investigating the weapons of the ancients, whenever I have a chance. Someday, when we have more time, I'd love to spend some time with this one too. For now, I focus on the task at hand. I grab a long green celery stick and use the knife to cut away the ends. The endings, yes, okay. The leaves and the hard part. The leaves and the hard part close to the root will be turned into compost later. The blade is a lot thicker than the usual kitchen knife, but it's still very sharp. It's probably more suited for combat, but it still does its job here. With the endings of the celery cut away, I grab it by one tip and place the knife on the opposite one. Now comes the harder part. I have to cut along the length a few times before I can dice across it. It always takes me a great effort to keep my knife steady and not mess up the cut, and to not cut off my fingers. Not that it matters much in the end, except for the aesthetics, but I still want to show Burry that my knife skills are improving. I press the tip of the knife against the wooden cutting board and begin making the slice across the green stick. Starting from the end opposite to me, I go down, trying to make the cleanest, straightest cut. The level of tension is comparable to when I was dealing with the bomb in the morning. It takes all of my effort to keep my hand steady as I run the knife down, slowly approaching the other end, securely held in my fingers. I can feel the sweat form over my forehead as all of my focus is centered at that cut. As I go further and further, I notice that I can no longer feel any resistance from the vegetables. The green stick seems to part on its own, about half an inch before the blade even touches it, and it continues to do so as I keep moving the blade towards the other end of my left hand. I've never seen anything like... Shit. A sudden surge of pain in my thumb makes me pull my left hand away. Somehow I cut myself without even touching the blade. To make the matters worse, my right hand still clutches the handle of the knife, and when I jerk my body, I put a lot more pressure onto the blade, and I feel myself lose balance. And the blade splits the wooden carving board in half. Then it sinks through the thick metal counter, all the way to the hilt. What the?
Luke, are you okay?
Burry tosses my knife. Tosses my knife and the sharpening stone to one side of the side, and rushes towards me to look over my clenched fists. My thumb hurts and bleeds.
Luke, I beg of you, be careful with your thumbs. You have only 2 of them.
It's not my fault. It's the knife.
Please stay here. I will go get a bandage. It looks like only a flesh wound, but it may still bleed for a while.
Burry starts browsing through the contents of his first aid shelf, and I stare at the handle of the damn knife sticking out of the metal counter. I grab it and try to pull it out, but of course it won't budge now.
Luke, paw.
I show Burry my hand, and he starts washing it. Hey, Burry, can you pull this knife out of, Wait. Could you pull this knife out for me? Okay. 2, please.
No more knives for today, Luke. I will chop the vegetables myself. I will not have you hurting yourself any further.
But that wasn't my fault. There is something very weird about that knife. Burry stops for a moment and he thinks, as if a sudden realization struck him. A quiet growl rumbles in his chest.
Well, of course. How could I be so careless? Oh, then that knife stinks of magic.
I want to take a look at it. Please show it to me. Burry hesitates, and eventually he pulls out the knife and places it at the edge of the counter. He then pulls a bandage out and starts wrapping my thumb.
Please do not touch it, okay? Just look at it.
Sure. I take a deep breath and focus. I'm going to glance only for a short moment. Here we go. I see. This is quite a find.
Whoa.
Yes, it uses some simple concepts, but the parts it's made of give it versatility and great potential. In a way, it reminds me of Runesword.
That good?
I think so. It will change depending on the user. When I look at it with Manavision, it glows yellow, the color of the avian races, and no other mana is infused in this blade.
The avians can negate gravity as their racial ability. That does not sound like something that could be used to improve cutting.
Yes, but with the right technology, the relic can bend the use of mana in unnatural ways. Avian mana can, on its own, could potentially be used to create blades of air pressure. But this knife isn't as crude. See that smooth stone on the top of the handle? I can see patterns infused in mana there. Stones like that are used for siphoning mana. In this case, the holder's mana is mixed with its siphons, along with avian mana. It's already infused with it, and then passes it through the blade, through the rim in the middle, creating a spell-like effect. Depending on the species of the holder, the effect will be different.
I'm sorry, Luke. I have a hard time understanding your explanations sometimes.
Sorry, basically, with your high proficiency in mana control, it's completely safe for you to keep it. It'll act like a normal knife, unless you will it to amplify. It's hard to predict the exact effect until you do, though. I don't remember what's a canine avian spell, or avian canine.
I see. Thank you, Luke.
You're welcome. I was curious about this knife too. I'm glad to have my curiosity satisfied.
While you're at it, would you like to take a look at the other relic as well? This one I found under the table.
Ah, damn it. Of course I do, but I just ended Manavision.
Oh, it matters little. We have gotten ourselves distracted long enough. I will give you your knife, the last wash, and get it back to cooking. And we can get back to cooking.
Burry puts the magic knife back in its holster and pats my head with affection. I can see deep concern on his face.
Please, be careful. We have not even diced the vegetables yet, and you already almost lost your thumb twice.
It's okay. As soon as we're done with that, the rest will be safe, right?
I sure hope so.
Oh, okay. The familiar sounds of frying food can be heard, and the sweet scent fills the kitchen. We finally begin the actual cooking. Burry uses a gigantic pot, and its prepared ingredients pile up much higher than mine. Let's hope that will be enough to feed everyone tomorrow. I use a relatively big pot too, roughly 7 liters in volume. Burry said I could probably do with a smaller one, but it's better to use too big of a pot than too little for this recipe. I look at the big fluffy dog, stirring the contents of his gigantic cauldron. I get ready to start with mine, but by his instructions, I put the butter into my pot, and I stare at it as it liquefies slowly.
So, with the burner set on medium heat, let the butter melt. Once it's nice and hot, add your diced celery, stick, and carrots.
The butter is all liquid now. Is it hot enough?
Throw in a single piece, and observe if it sizzles.
I nod and throw in a single green cube of celery on top of the thin layer of melted butter. It just lays there. No, it doesn't.
Then wait a moment. Add your ingredients when it does.
Got it. I wait patiently, awaiting the first signs of sizzling around the green little cube swimming in butter. Once it starts bubbling and shaking, I add the rest of the diced celery and carrots into the pot. The moment I do, I get waft with the sweet scent from my own pot. Man, it already smells nice, and it's only the veggies.
It shall only keep growing more enticing, the further this path we venture. Remember to stir it. Do not let them burn.
Crap, I haven't grabbed my spatula yet.
Find one of the big wooden spoons. Please do not use metal on silicone.
I rush toward the drawer to start brushing through their contents in a search for a wooden spatula or a big spoon. I find them in a drawer right under where I first cut my onions. And most of the tools there are destroyed, cut into pieces. Apparently the big magic knife caused much more damage than we initially thought. All of the wooden and silicone tools in that drawer are sliced and impossible to use anymore. Burry will have to buy more at Mrjosh tomorrow. However, there is still a big, nice-looking metal spoon, all scratched but fully functional. I know that I was asked to find a wooden spoon, but there is no other choice right now. I grab it and run back to my pot in a hurry, determined to not burn anything this time. I start stirring the vegetables, and I see that some of them started to get more translucent. They let their juices and make the rising vapors smell richer. Okay. The metal spoons work just fine. I don't know why Burry was so specific about not using metal. Every single other tool we have is metal.
We both seem to be ready to add our onions and garlic. If you think it smells good now, prepare yourself to be impressed yet again. Let us do it together, Luke.
Okay, I'm ready.
And...
Both of us push our diced onions and garlic mix into our respective pots, stir it together with other vegetables. In a matter of seconds, the air completely turns from smelling enticing to borderline mouth-watering. Butter, celery, carrots, onions, and garlic create such a smooth and rich banquet of aromas. This is getting really good.
Oh, yeah. This scent is your first little reward for a job well done. But this is only the beginning. Soon, we will get the first real challenge.
And by that you mean?
The meat.
Yeah, the meat.
I shall walk you through it very soon. For now, let us finish with the vegetables. Cook them until the onions start getting translucent. Garlic easily burns when you're not careful. So keep stirring. If it's too hot, lower the temperature.
Burry keeps giving me numerous small advice as we complete preparing the buttery vegetable mix. Then we move them to separate bowls and set them aside.
We will add it much later. When the meat is ready, we are going to cook the meat in the same pot as we did the vegetables in.
Less stuff to wash later?
Exactly.
So, the meat now?
Indeed. I refrained from preparing the meat in advance because it tastes the best when freshly minced before cooking. However, it will still taste good even if you let it rest some time after mincing, even the next day. Just be sure to never make it out of frozen meat because the flavor difference is very noticeable.
Luckily for us, we do not have the problem with getting fresh meat.
Indeed. We grow our own. I have a few plump ones here, freshly picked from our trees, still warm.
Okay. Burry pulls out a big chunk of meat from the fridge and puts it on the counter. It's about as long as his forearm, and it looks absolutely terrific. Beautiful. Just like the other food, the meat is grown in our local gardens. We have a few meat trees, and Burry personally takes care of the effort of clearly reflects. The effort clearly reflects in the quality of the harvest. Yes, okay. All of the vegetables grow at shelter taste great, but the meat grows on our soil is especially high quality, and some say that it rivals the best that the canine country has to offer. Oh look, that sure is a delicious-looking thick piece of meat if I ever have seen one.
Yes, a real beauty. I could just sink my teeth into it right now. The smell is irresistible. Even without a canine nose, you can still tell a lot about the quality of a meat from how soft and
Lustrous?
the fur is. This one was at its peak day for the harvest.
Sometimes I wish I could eat raw meat like you guys.
It's okay, Luke. As much as I love raw meat, its potential is still yet to be unlocked by us through cooking. You will see.
So, are you going to teach me how to prepare it now?
Is it okay if you just observe today?
Are you worried that I'm going to cut myself again?
Yes. That too.
Sure, I'll watch.
It is not, that I lack faith in you. I'm only mindful of your current exhaustion and... You know, you can sometimes act a bit weird when it comes to raw meat.
It's not that bad anymore. One day I have to just man up and be able to do it with my own hands. And you're right, Burry. I know it's a hard skill to master, so it's better if I learn from observation for now. Especially since the knives for meat preparation look much sharper than anything else in your arsenal.
Their sharpness is, in fact, something that makes them safer to use. It keeps your cut smooth and steady. There is nothing more dangerous in butchery than a worn-out knife. But first, you need to know where to sink the blade into the first place.
Okay. I'm actually going to end the part here, so I will see you around, everyone.